people. Another beautiful day or night. Yep. Hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. Or excellent. What? What's up, gamers? Okay, Bethesda. You need to Bethesda Studios. I'm talking to every one of you. You need to use negative comments on Starfield as motivation and fuel for your game development. Okay? That's what you need to do. Don't respond to it. Just use it as motivation and fuel. Like gasoline for your game development. If you get the point. Alright, listen to this. It says here, Bethesda is defending as many negative Bethesda is defending as many negative Starfield Steam reviews as they can. That is pointless. It's pointless and it's a waste of time. Bethesda Studios need to use negative comments as fuel and use it as motivation to keep them going in the game industry. That's what you need. Look, no game studio goes through the game industry unscathed. You're gonna get criticized. That's just the world we live in. So if you have, you know what? Let me read this. Listen to this. It says here, the rather lackluster release of Starfield, Bethesda highly anticipated descendants to Skyrim and Fallout, seemed to have left a rather sour taste in the mouth of the Bethesda dev. In what is rather a strange move on Bethesda's part, they have started to personally reply to as many negative reviews on Steam as they can. That is a waste of time. Don't do that. It says Starfield review. It says it seems that many of these developers' response have been a result of influx of new Steam reviews as a result of the autumn Steam sale that cut the cost of the game by 20%. All of these new reviews have culminated in overall Steam rating sitting at a shameful mixed rating. Says here, if you take a look through the review and the response, which I highly recommend because they are an absolute blast to read, you can almost hear the devs trying to hold back the tears. To be fair, this is rather impressive considering how scathing some of these reviews are and how tame and calm the response are. This still does beg the question as to why they are responding to every single review and giving a personal tailored response, because there is no way to win this with their dignity intact. No matter what they say, they will always lose because people writing the reviews don't care and the dev just come across as insecure and overbearing. If by some miracle you can change someone's mind, you have gained nothing and still come across as insecure and overbearing. Developer's response. If you want to read some of the response, just go here and below will be the best one I could find. Says here, even the comments about the response to reviews are threats to read. And then one person here says, even modern Bethesda apology has bad writing all over it. Haha. Oh boy, Sarah Morgan will hate me for this, I bet. And then Paling Man says, we are sorry that you don't like. It's not an apology. It's called being passive-aggressive. It's passive. The weight of the guilt to the player is like saying, I am sorry that you're not able to deliver what was expected. And then Greedom said this, we are sorry that you do not like landing on different planets and falling and finding many of them empty. What kind of backhand comment is that? You commenting negatively back is really making it worse for you. Okay, look. When it comes to Starfield, look. Bethesda need to use negative comments and negative response as fuel and motivation, in the game industry to keep them going. Going back and forth, trying to respond to every comment, that's a waste of time, because that is really taking you away from what you're supposed to be doing is game development. Look at Sea of Thieves. Look at Sea of Thieves when it came out. Sea of Thieves didn't come out the door, came out the gate, blazing and all that. When Sea of Thieves came out, I remember, I think it was GameSpot. They were sitting there laughing at the game. They were talking about it, but they were sitting there laughing at it. So what Rare did now was open a line of communication to the user base, and then use the user base feedback as a fuel and motivation, and then turn their comments into an expansion. And look at Sea of Thieves now. What is the user base like? What, almost 40 million? So when it comes to Starfield, the developers at Bethesda cannot sit there and get back into a back and forth war about Starfield, because that's taking them away from what they're supposed to be doing, as far as like making updates and expansion to the game. Sure, there are millions of planets. There's thousands of planets out there, right? But these people that are making the comments, they need to ask themselves, are those planets, are they livable? Is there anybody on them? They don't know, so their comments are pointless. It's useless. Starfield is about space exploration, and I think the further as far as like space exploration goes, like when it comes to from a scientist standpoint, I think the furthest they ever got to was what, Mars? Is there life on Mars? No. So those people that are giving Starfield negative comments, they really don't know what they're talking about, because there's no life there. So the idea that you can go to different planets is, in a video game, that's cool. If there's no life on them, there's no life on them, I mean, but Bethesda can put life on them in a video game if they want to. They do have that option. So for Bethesda Studio to be sitting there getting into a back and forth with the users, that's just a waste of time. They're supposed to be focusing on the game and coming out with new updates. That's what they're supposed to be doing, because all that back and forth is taking them away from what they're supposed to be doing. And most of the negative hate that they're getting are usually PlayStation fans, aka Xbox haters. That's where it's coming from. All that negative feedback about Starfield, that's usually coming from the PlayStation fan base. Okay? Just saying. So, to me, Bethesda need to use negative comments as fuel and motivation to keep them going in the game industry, and don't respond to it, because all it's doing is just taking them away from their game development of Starfield. That's all it's doing. So they need to get focused. I mean, like I said, look at Rare Studios right now. When Sea of Thieves came out, Sea of Thieves didn't have the best reception. But Rare Studios didn't let that stop them. They opened a line of communication, and they were talking to the user base. And the user base helped them build that game. Look at Rare Studios now. Yeah, so Bethesda may need to take some cues from Rare and how they were successful with Sea of Thieves. Just saying. So sitting there going back and forth with back and forth in an argument with users, that's just taking you away from your I mean going back and forth with negative comments over Starfield, that's just taking you away from the development of the game. I mean, sure, there's thousands of planets. I mean, Starfield is a pretty big game, and it's about space exploration. Sure, Bethesda can put life on put life on some of those planets if they choose to. They have that option. So for them to be sitting there like wasting their time, going to back and forth war, and that's taking them away from the actual development of the game, that's not a good look. So they need to get focused. You know? I mean, sure people, no one in the no game studios in the game industry goes through unscathed. I mean, you're gonna get some criticism, so it goes back to now. Okay, how are you gonna respond to this? You know, by keep what, fixing, repairing, and updating the game. You know, and don't pay attention to all that negativity that you're getting. You know, so yeah, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You know, so yeah, and then go on from there. Look at Rare Studios. When Sea of Thieves came out, Sea of Thieves didn't get a grand reception, but there were people that liked the ocean life, the pirate life of video games, and they helped Rare. They build a bond with Rare Studios, and they send their feedbacks, and yeah, Rare in turn used those feedbacks and built Sea of Thieves. Look at Sea of Thieves now. Just saying, okay. At the height of pirate games, that game came out, okay. Just saying. So that's what Bethesda gonna have to do, man. So to be sitting there trying to respond to every single negative, every single comment, nah. Focus on Starfield, and that's it. You know, if you got to put life on some of those planets, okay, fine, do it. So be it. Okay. Remember, it's a video game, so yeah. But other than that, man, you know, folk. I mean, you know, don't use negative comments and feedbacks as fuel to keep you going. You know, and that's what you're gonna have to do. You know, in this world. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek 9. Dark Side. Go.